Now, imagine taking a deep breath only to find poison in every gulp. That's the reality for marine life today. From sea turtles to blue whales, our oceans are no longer a safe haven, but a soup of microplastics. And it's not just what's floating on the surface. New research shows the threat runs deeper and deadlier than ever. In our next report, we dive into the heartbreaking truth: how sea creatures are drowning in plastic they can't escape, and what it means for the planet's future.
The ocean, once a sanctuary for the planet's most majestic creatures, has become a silent graveyard of plastic. From the gentle glide of sea turtles to the haunting songs of blue whales, over 1,200 marine species are now choking on the remnants of human convenience. They are not caught in six-pack rings or nets. They are drowning in something even smaller: microplastics, invisible to the naked eye, yet deadly in every gulp. In nearly 200 species of fish sampled across 24 countries, scientists discovered a terrifying consistency. Two-thirds had microplastics in their bodies. But it's not just the fish. Hermit crabs, squat lobsters and deep-sea predators all have microplastic pollution embedded deep within. And then there are the whales, giants of the deep, capable of eating up to 10 million microplastic particles every single day, unknowingly feeding on poison while they filter the ocean for plankton. Some of these particles are now part of their flesh, their bodies, their lives. Every wave carries a secret: fragments of plastics so small, so insidious, they have reached every corner of the ocean, from sunlit coral reefs to pitch-black trenches. A new research from Tel Aviv University has revealed a fresh horror. Filter-feeding marine creatures aren't just the victims, they are becoming vessels that change microplastics in deadly ways. The study focused on ascidians, bizarre jelly-like organisms that filters the ocean for nutrients. But when they consume plastic, the results are disturbing. Polystyrene, one of the most common plastics, is filtered and re-released by ascidians in alarming amounts, re-entering the ecosystem unchanged and more widespread. Polylactic acid, often marketed as eco-friendly, doesn't just disappear. It breaks down inside the creatures into smaller, nearly invisible nanoparticles. These are even more dangerous, slipping past biological defenses and entering cells, tissues, and potentially the food chain that leads directly to us. Microplastics don't just invade bodies, they starve ecosystems. The research showed that feces containing microplastics sink rapidly to the ocean floor. Normally, waste matters drift slowly, nourishing countless species as it falls. But microplastic-laced waste rains down like toxic confetti. This leads to oxygen-depleting algal blooms, suffocating the seafloor in a dense green fog of death. Corals die, crabs vanish, and the circle of life breaks. If the world stays on its current course, the volume of plastic pouring into our oceans will triple by 2040. The consequences will not be abstract. They are already happening. Animals are dying, food chains are collapsing, and the oceans, the very lungs of our planet, are being poisoned from inside out. We are running out of time to act. The tide is not just rising, it is filling with plastic, and the sea life is drowning in it.
It's so important for children to see books about themselves.
It's one of the children's books at the center of a high-profile Supreme Court case. Uncle Bobby's Wedding tells the story of a little girl who gets upset when her favorite uncle announces he's getting married, worried he won't have time for her anymore. However, after spending time with the couple, she quickly comes around and realizes having two uncles is better than one.
I wrote the story because my niece wanted every book to end with a wedding, and same-sex marriage had just been legalized in Massachusetts, and there were basically no picture books for young children. with two moms or two dads.
Author Sarah Brannon says when she wrote the story in the early 2000s, she had no idea it would be discussed in the Supreme Court.
Listening to the oral arguments was the most surreal experience of my career. But reading the decision today, I just kept thinking about the day I thought of writing this book 20 years ago. And how did this happen? How has it become part of the law of the land?
Friday, the Supreme Court ruling in favor of a group of Montgomery County parents who sued after the school board added Uncle Bobby's Wedding and several other books with LGBTQ themes to the elementary school curriculum, with no option for families to opt out. The parents argued the school district violated their First Amendment right of religious freedom, and the High Court's conservative majority agreed. In the majority opinion, Justice Alito writing, "We hold that the board's introduction of the LGBTQ plus inclusive storybooks, combined with its decision to withhold notice to parents and to forbid opt-outs, substantially interferes with the religious development of their children and imposes the kind of burden on religious exercise that Yoder found." In the dissent, Justice Sotomayor writing, "Today's ruling ushers in that new reality, casting aside long-standing precedent. The court invites a constitutional right to avoid exposure to subtle themes contrary to the religious principles that parents wish to instill in their children."
It's important for children to see books about families different from theirs, too.
Friday's ruling sends the case back to a lower court that will decide on the opt-out issue. And while parents wait to see what that looks like in the classroom, Brannon says she's devastated by the decision, but she's also learned an important lesson.
How important picture books are. It might be easy to dismiss them because they're just short and they have little pictures and they're bunnies and things. And it's not. They're tremendously important. And I write my books always thinking about the readers.
And keep in mind, 3 Supreme Court justices live in Montgomery County, but their children did not attend public school. In the district, Walter Morris News.
The thousands flooded the streets of Budapest in a powerful pro-LGBTQ plus rally that surged into a broader anti-government demonstration, waving rainbow flags and also anti-Orban placards. The protesters from over 30 different nations made their voices heard. We'll leave you with this report. Thanks for watching.
McDonald's is taking heat, but not from the grill. The fast food giant is facing a nationwide boycott over changes to its diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. A grassroots group is calling for an economic blackout starting June 24th, urging customers to hit pause on spending at the Golden Arches. The People's Union USA says a boycott starts today and runs until Monday of next week. The group's founder says it's a show of solidarity and a push for community-centered change. McDonald's says inclusion is still a core value, but admits it's changing how that work looks inside its system. After a review, McDonald's says it's shifting focus. No more formal representation goals, no more supply chain DEI pledge, and a pause on external surveys. But this shift didn't start at the drive-thru. It began in Washington with President Donald Trump. In one of his first moves after taking office, Trump signed executive orders targeting DEI programs across federal agencies and education systems, which trickled down to the corporate level. Soon after, companies like McDonald's, Target, Walmart, and John Deere began re-evaluating their own diversity policies. Target, Walmart, and Amazon have all faced similar pressure and boycotts. Target has been scrutinized for several months when a Black History Month boycott was launched by Minneapolis-based civil rights groups. Faith leaders joined in March with a 40-day fast. Target later reported significant losses, blaming the boycotts and tariffs.
President Trump is responding to the U.S. Supreme Court's landmark decision to not allow federal district courts to block his executive orders. Jacqueline Lee has the latest reactions tonight.
The landmark 6-3 decision today out of the Supreme Court, allowing President Trump to move forward, for now, with plans to end birthright citizenship.
This morning, the Supreme Court has delivered a monumental victory for the Constitution, the separation of powers, and the rule of law.
Not ruling whether Trump's executive order on birthright citizenship is constitutional. The vote along ideological lines. Justice Amy Coney Barrett writing for the majority, saying sweeping injunctions went too far and federal courts do not exercise general oversight of the executive branch. They resolve cases and controversies. This coming after federal judges in 3 states ruled Trump's Day 1 executive order on birthright citizenship violates the Constitution.
It was a disaster where somebody from a certain location in a very liberal state or a liberal judge or a liberal group of judges could tie up a whole country for years because their decision would sometimes take years to overturn.
But Justice Sonia Sotomayor writing in a biting dissent that liberal justices would not join so grave an attack on our system of law, arguing Trump's attempt to end birthright citizenship makes a solemn mockery of the Constitution. Birthright citizenship has been guaranteed by the Constitution for more than 150 years. Today, Attorney General Pam Bondi deflecting questions of how citizenship for newborns in America would be determined.
This is all pending litigation. It's going to be decided in October by the Supreme Court, and we'll discuss that after the litigation.
Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Yemen's Information Minister Muammar al-Irani has accused Iran of attempting to relocate parts of its military industry to territory controlled by the Houthis. In a detailed post on X, al-Irani claimed that Iran was turning Yemen into a workshop for developing an advanced missile base for the Iranian Revolutionary Guards and a platform for launching threats against regional security. Now, according to the Yemeni Information Minister, Iran is outsourcing some of its military production facilities due to increased international pressure to restrict its nuclear and missile program. Now, according to al-Irani, Iran is moving the manufacturing and development of missiles and drones to Houthi-controlled areas, particularly in Sadr, Hajjah and capital Sana'a. While the development comes after Iran's ambassador to the United Nations said that Tehran would be open to a nuclear deal in which it transfers its stockpile of highly enriched uranium abroad. In an interview to El Monitor, Iran's envoy Amir Saeed Iravani has said that Iran is open to the transfer in return for receiving yellow cake. Now, yellow cake is a raw material used in the production of nuclear fuel for nuclear power reactors. Meanwhile, former Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif has accused IAEA chief Rafael Grossi of abetting the slaughter of innocent Iranians and abetting more war crimes after he suggested that Iran could be hiding its stock of enriched uranium at World Heritage sites in Isfahan.
The deadly crash was the result of a collision between a truck and a minibus carrying workers on a regional road in Ashmoun city in the Menofia Governorate, northern Egypt. Only 3 people survived the accident that completely destroyed the vehicle, the Labour Ministry said. Menofia's governor, Ibrahim Abu Laymun, confirmed an urgent investigation into the cause of the crash. He called on the Transportation Ministry to reassess safety measures on the regional road, according to local media outlet Al Masri Al Youm. Labour Minister Mohamed Gebran ordered authorities to immediately take necessary measures to disburse compensations for the victims' families. Deadly traffic accidents claim thousands of lives every year in Egypt, which has a poor transportation safety record. Speeding, bad roads and poor enforcement of traffic regulations mostly cause the collisions.
So as monsoon covers much of India, Delhi is waiting for some relief from the sweltering heat. At least about 6 Indian states are on an orange alert. Torrential rains continue to wreak havoc across Uttarakhand. Badrinath-Rishikesh highway has been blocked due to debris, and this has disrupted pilgrimage to Badrinath and Kedarnath. As per officials, restoration work is underway in the routes leading to the holy sites. In the state of Odisha, a bridge collapsed due to heavy rains and overflowing of the Dio River in the Mayurbhanj district. Meanwhile, orange alert has been issued by IMD in some parts of states like Kerala, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Uttarakhand and Gujarat.
A scorching heat wave has gripped the eastern and central United States, putting over 160 million people under heat alerts. From Chicago to New York, temperatures have shattered records, with heat index values soaring past 43 degrees Celsius. This rare June heat dome has triggered emergency warnings, overwhelmed cities, and offered no relief, be it day or night. Now, authorities are urging caution as this dangerously early heat surge tests power grids, public health systems, and daily life. With oppressive humidity and rising risks, this is no ordinary summer spell. In fact, it's a warning of what's to come. Our next report takes you to the heart of America's overheated cities.
A wave of punishing heat has locked much of the United States under its fiery grip. From the Midwest to the Mid-Atlantic, tens of millions are reeling under a blazing forecast. No breeze, no clouds, just brutal sun and rising danger. It started over the weekend, now it's intensifying, and it's not going away anytime soon. More than 160 million people are under heat alerts. 75 million are facing extreme heat warnings. Cities across 29 states, from Chicago to Boston, from Detroit to Washington, D.C., are sweltering. The culprit? A massive heat dome, a high-pressure system that traps heat and humidity like a lid on a boiling pot. Because of this, heat dome records are already tumbling. On Saturday, Mitchell, South Dakota, hit 40 degrees Celsius, breaking its previous high of 38 degrees Celsius. By midday Monday, North Carolina and Virginia were already seeing heat index values over 43 degrees Celsius. It felt like walking through steam. The National Weather Service warned of oppressive humidity and very light winds. Boston's weather office said the rising levels of mercury would be the worst of it, possibly the hottest in the coming days. In fact, temperatures are expected to cross the 38 degrees Celsius mark across several cities. Now that's not just uncomfortable, that's dangerous. heat isn't dramatic like hurricanes or blizzards, but it kills more people each year than any other weather event. It creeps in silently, overwhelming the body, draining energy and pushing systems to the edge. And this level of heat is especially risky for outdoor workers, the elderly, children, and anyone without access to air conditioning. With overnight temperatures remaining high, the body has little chance to recover. New York City has already declared a heat emergency. So has Philadelphia. Cooling centers are open. Public health departments are urging people to stay indoors, drink water, and check on vulnerable neighbors. And yet the heat continues to spread. Forecasters say the core of the heat will shift eastward through the coming week. Until then, the heat dome remains firmly in place. Meteorologists call this a rare June event. Usually, this kind of widespread heat hits in late July or August. But 2024 has been anything but ordinary. Last year was the hottest on record. This year is already tracking among the top 3. The message is clear: heat waves are coming earlier, lasting longer, and stretching farther. The US is only a few days into summer. Yet from coast to coast, the air is heavy, the skies are still, and millions are just trying to stay cool. But as this first major heat wave scorches its way east, one chilling question lingers beneath the rising thermometer. What happens when July gets here?
After 2 years of conflict, nearly 25 million people in Sudan face acute food insecurity, according to the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification. With agriculture ruined and food aid a problem, people are resorting to eating weeds to survive.
People really are in extreme need after 2 years of conflict, especially some of the areas that are just recently accessible. People need access to all kinds of basic services and basic items, including food.
Food insecurity is especially bad in areas in the Kordofan region, the Nuba Mountains, and Darfur, where El Fasher and Zamzam camps are inaccessible, according to aid groups.
People are eating leftover peanut waste. So in Arabic, it's called ombas, and it's basically what's left over after using peanuts to produce peanut oil. So it really is leftover food waste made out of peanut shells, which is usually used as animal fodder. And that's what those are the kind of extreme measures that people have been resorting to be able to survive. We've also received reports of people eating grass, people eating leaves.
Aid workers say the war spiked market prices and limited aid delivery in a country that was once the region's food basket. Sudan officially denies the existence of famine. It says food insecurity only exists in areas controlled by the rebel RSF.
You can tell this is AI because he is cooperating. Don't make me run from you. Don't make me tase you.
If I'm being honest, when I saw your name, I almost skipped the resume. Thought it was one of those diversity hires. Talks like he's trying to be one of us, dresses like he's trying to scare us. No wonder nobody takes you seriously.
Hey, Spider-Man, you got any spare chain?
How about you get a job, you nigga?
Hey, you got any chicken and watermelon, boy?
Think that's the worst of it? You'd be wrong. Here it is.
This picking cotton is easy. All these other just complaining. But that's why Massa loves me. I put in the work.
Do you want a whip or are you going to double it for the next monkey?
Bitch, you're going to hit me either way.
You're right.
What do you do in your free time?
Not sure what you mean by a free, but I like speedrunning cotton rows for personal bests.
Where did you get that tattoo?
The artist like that.
Marking came with my chains. Didn't choose the design.
When are you taking a break?
Still waiting on HR to approve my vacation since 1802.
So do you want to get whipped once or double it and pass it on to the next poor soul?
Bitch, you gonna whip me regardless of what I say?
That's true.
I asked Massa for a raise and he raised the whip and beat the shit out of me.
Put it up for a mask. All right. AI, software, creating racist videos. Creating such videos has become more accessible to the average user now, where the only limit is your imagination, even if that imagination happens to be racist as hell. Based on the watermark of some of these clips, the software used to create this was VO3AI, an app developed by Google where users can write a prompt and the software would generate realistic imagery. It's one of many tools used to achieve such videos. All right, so, we're in the land of make-believe again, and typically individuals have the right to freedom of speech. This is a free speech dynamic, as tasteless as it may be. And we had a debate not too long ago on Indisputable about Section 230 and how platforming such racist comment or commentary should be restricted or refereed in a more, well, let's just say, honorable fashion on social media platforms when publishing such content. All right, dear brother, you are in this arena yourself because of the comedic dynamics that are allegedly associated with some of this kind of stuff. And yeah, it definitely has some extreme context, but what say you?
What I say is racists are always so clever. Why are they always ahead of the trend? They will get on anything and get to anywhere just to be racist. We have AI technology. This could help save humanity. And what's the first thing that they do is go out and make racist content. How did they get so good at programming in the first place? Let's talk about that. They should be giving classes. That was some great AI technology use, but always and as often for the wrong thing. Honestly, you know why we don't have aliens on this planet yet? Is because to the rest of the universe, Earth is the ghetto. Aliens lock their spaceships when they fly by. We are exactly what they depict in those videos, which are despicable, horrible videos. And the fact that people are doing them shows you how bad it is for us.
That's right. And just one point of clarification, dear brother, they prefer to be called extraterrestrials than aliens. I learned that a few months ago.